Good morning, ninth class. So in this video we are going to focus on the example of spheres, and we are going to study law of conservation of momentum with the help of these example of spheres. This is given on page 69 of your books. So in your book they have given you an example of two different spheres. One has mass m1, another has mass m2. Mass m1 is moving with velocity u1 and mass m2 is moving with velocity u2. We know that velocity is usually represented by the alphabet V. But in this case, we are using U to represent the velocity. Why is that? Because further down in this example, we are going to represent a velocity again, but that velocity will be different. So in order to differentiate between two different velocities, we have named this velocity as U1 and U2. And further down, we will represent that as V1 and V2. So mass M1 is moving with velocity U1, mass M2 is moving with velocity U2. It says that velocity u1 is greater than u2. That means this mass has a greater speed, it is moving faster, and this mass is moving slower. If this is moving slower, that means this mass is going to catch up with this one and it is going to strike the other mass from behind. So when that happens, we can say that collision has occurred. When collision has occurred, that means mass m1 is going to lose some of its speed and mass m2 will gain some of the speed. Why? Because it was struck from behind. So now the masses will remain the same. Mass m1 will remain mass m1, mass m2 will remain mass m2, but their velocities will change. Initially it was u1, now it has become v1. Initially it was u2, now it has become v2. So the law of conservation of momentum says that before the collision happened, the momentum of both of these masses will be equal to the momentum of both of these masses after collision has occurred, because this is an isolated system. Initial momentum before collision will be equal to the final momentum after collision. This is what law of conservation of momentum tells us. Now we are going to perform a certain step of mathematical equations, and we are going to prove that in fact this is true. Law of conservation of momentum will be followed by these both masses.